When you think of the Stone Age, what image pops into your mind? Probably a caveman, right? But what about the cave woman? Was she just waiting in the cave? This deeply entrenched image, woven into the fabric of popular culture through countless documentaries, films, and even educational materials, presents a very specific, and ultimately narrow, view of our ancient past. We are often shown a towering, muscular male figure, clad in animal skins, spear clutched firmly in hand, poised to confront a formidable beast like a woolly mammoth. His role is unequivocally defined, the brave hunter, the fearless protector, venturing out into a harsh and dangerous world to secure sustenance for his group. In stark contrast, the female figure, when she appears at all, is typically relegated to the background, a nurturing presence tending to a small fire, cradling an infant, or perhaps collecting berries in a quiet corner. This pervasive narrative paints a picture of rigid gender roles, where men are the dynamic providers and protectors, embodying strength and innovation, while women are depicted as static domestic caregivers, confined to the hearth and solely focused on child-rearing. This simplistic division is not just an artistic interpretation, it has become a foundational assumption in how we understand the very origins of human society and the evolution of our species. However, this romanticized, yet profoundly flawed, portrayal is a significant disservice to the complex and dynamic realities of human existence in the Stone Age. It does more than just diminish the contributions of an entire half of the population, it fundamentally misrepresents the collaborative, adaptable, and interdependent nature of early human communities. The notion that survival in such unforgiving environments could be sustained by such a rigid division of labor, with one half of the population limited to purely domestic duties, defies logic and the emerging archaeological evidence. Our ancestors thrived precisely because they were incredibly resourceful and flexible, pooling their diverse skills and efforts. The time has come to critically re-examine these long-held assumptions, to meticulously peel back the layers of this pervasive, caveman myth, and to scrutinize the biases that allowed it to become so deeply ingrained in our collective consciousness. We must embark on a rigorous intellectual journey that promises to reveal a far richer, more equitable, and ultimately more accurate depiction of our prehistoric past. By directly challenging the long-held archetype of the solitary male provider and embracing a more holistic view, we can begin the crucial work of uncovering the hidden half of human history. This vital re-evaluation will illuminate the critical, multifaceted, and often leading roles women played in not just the sheer biological survival of our species, but in its very evolution, cultural flourishing, and the development of the complex social structures that define us. Their ingenuity, strength, intellectual contributions, and profound adaptability were not merely supplementary, they were absolutely indispensable to the very fabric of prehistoric life, fundamentally reshaping our understanding of who we were as a species and, by extension, who we are today in our modern world. The pervasive image of the Stone Age as a world strictly divided into male hunters and female gatherers is a powerful testament to how deeply ingrained certain gender stereotypes have become in our historical imagination. For decades, popular culture and even much academic thought depicted a clear, almost rigid, division of labor. Men, with their presumed greater physical strength and aggressive instincts, ventured out to hunt large, dangerous animals, securing the crucial protein necessary for survival. Meanwhile, women, often seen as naturally more nurturing and less physically robust, were relegated to the seemingly safer and less demanding tasks of collecting berries, roots, and small game, while simultaneously caring for children within the confines of a protected encampment. This neat, almost simplistic, framework provided a convenient lens through which to understand early human societies, neatly categorizing roles and responsibilities based on what were then considered inherent biological differences. It presented a seemingly logical explanation for how our ancestors managed to thrive, with each gender contributing in a clearly delineated manner. However, recent archaeological breakthroughs are dramatically dismantling this oversimplified narrative, revealing a far more dynamic, integrated, and often surprising division of labor. Startling discoveries are forcing a profound re-evaluation of these long-held assumptions. Consider, for instance, the remarkable finding in 2018 of a 9,000-year-old burial site in the Peruvian Andes. Here, archaeologists unearthed the remains of a young woman, likely in her late teens or early 20s, interred not with domestic tools, but with a comprehensive big game hunting toolkit. This arsenal included finely crafted stone projectile points, knives, and other tools specifically designed for processing animal carcasses. This was not an isolated incident. Similar findings are beginning to emerge from various parts of the globe, providing irrefutable, tangible evidence that women actively participated in, and were highly skilled at, hunting large animals. These were not mere opportunistic finds or exceptions to a rule. These women were proficient hunters, contributing significantly to the community's protein supply and likely sharing in the associated prestige, social standing, and leadership roles that came with such a vital contribution. The notion that hunting was exclusively a male domain, primarily due to perceived differences in brute strength, fails to acknowledge the sophisticated adaptability and strategic thinking that defined our ancestors. Hunting, especially of large game, was often less about raw power and more about endurance, tracking skills, cooperative strategies, knowledge of animal behavior, and the precise use of traps and projectile weapons. Women in these societies developed immense stamina, precision, and strategic acumen, often working collaboratively within hunting parties. They likely employed a range of techniques, from ambushes to persistence hunting, all of which required intellect and coordination as much as, if not more than, sheer force. The very survival of these communities hinged on the collective effort and diverse skill sets of all its members, irrespective of gender. To relegate women to a perpetually secondary role as mere gatherers fundamentally misrepresents the nuanced and egalitarian nature of many prehistoric groups, where shared contribution was the bedrock of survival. While the burgeoning evidence of women's active participation in hunting is a groundbreaking revelation, their contributions to human ingenuity extended far beyond the pursuit of game, truly embodying the essence of technological and cultural advancement in the Stone Age. Often overshadowed by the dramatic and easily visualized narratives of hunting prowess, the daily, meticulous work of gathering was, in itself, a sophisticated scientific endeavor. It demanded an encyclopedic knowledge of the local ecosystem, an acute understanding of seasonal cycles, and an intimate familiarity with countless plant species, which were edible, which possessed medicinal properties, and, crucially, which were poisonous. Women were likely the primary botanists and pharmacologists of their time, meticulously mapping the landscape for its edible treasures, observing plant growth patterns, and passing down this vital, intricate knowledge through generations. Their expertise wasn't just about collecting, it was about sustainable harvesting, understanding resource management, and ensuring a consistent and diverse food supply for the entire group. This profound connection to the flora around them laid the groundwork for countless innovations. But their ingenuity didn't stop at discerning edible from non-edible. Consider the revolution of food processing, an area almost certainly pioneered and perfected by women. The development and refinement of grinding stones to turn tough, raw grains, nuts, and seeds into more digestible flours or pastes represented a monumental leap in human nutrition. This process not only made food easier to consume, especially for the young and old, but also unlocked crucial nutrients previously inaccessible. Similarly, the mastery of various cooking techniques, such as boiling in pits, baking in earthen ovens, or even the initial steps of fermentation, further diversified the diet, reduced toxins, and preserved food for longer periods. These seemingly mundane advancements were, in fact, pivotal in supporting larger, healthier populations and reducing the energy expenditure required for digestion. Beyond sustenance, women were arguably the primary developers and innovators of textile and clothing technology. The painstaking, yet essential, work of tanning animal hides to create durable and flexible clothing, crucial for protection against the elements in diverse climates, would have fallen largely to them. Furthermore, the invention of intricate weaving techniques using plant fibers to craft essential items like baskets for carrying and storing goods, nets for fishing or trapping small animals, and perhaps even early forms of fabric for warmth and comfort, speaks volumes of their dexterity, patience, and foresight. These weren't mere domestic chores. They were complex technological processes requiring significant skill, experimentation, and constant refinement. Moreover, the intimate, daily interaction women had with plants and their environments positions them as strong candidates for being the original agricultural innovators. Their deep, observational understanding of plant growth cycles, their careful monitoring of seed dispersal, and their consistent nurturing of wild edibles could have naturally led to the first tentative steps towards cultivation. This groundbreaking shift, from simply collecting food to actively producing it, represents one of humanity's most transformative revolutions, the Neolithic Revolution. It's plausible that the foundational insights for this monumental change originated with women, whose hands shaped not just daily sustenance and comfort, but the very trajectory of human civilization through their relentless pursuit of efficiency, improved living conditions, and sustainable resource management. Their contributions went far beyond mere survival. They laid the very groundwork for permanent settlements, population growth, and the complex societies that followed. Beyond their vital roles in sustenance and technological innovation, women were undeniably the architects of early human social structures and the primary conduits of knowledge transfer, acting as the indispensable linchpins that held prehistoric communities together. While the enduring image of the male hunter often evokes a sense of individual prowess and solitary leadership, the profound reality of Stone Age survival was deeply rooted in collaboration, intricate social bonds, and communal effort. Women were central to establishing and meticulously maintaining these crucial networks, fostering the cohesion and solidarity necessary for groups to not just survive but to truly thrive in often harsh and unpredictable environments. Their influence extended to the very formation of stable family units, the negotiation of alliances with neighboring groups, the meticulous management of internal disputes, and the overarching responsibility for ensuring the collective well-being of every member. This wasn't merely a supportive role, it was foundational to societal stability and growth. The rearing of children, far from being a solitary burden placed solely on individual mothers, was almost certainly a highly communal effort. Within these tightly knit groups, women likely shared childcare responsibilities, allowing others the flexibility to participate in hunting expeditions, intensive gathering forays, crafting essential tools, or other vital tasks. This shared responsibility not only lightened the load for individual mothers but also ensured a continuous flow of knowledge, support, and protection for the youngest and most vulnerable members of the community. This collaborative approach to child rearing also fostered deeper intergenerational bonds and a strong sense of collective identity. Crucially, women were the original educators and cultural custodians, playing an unparalleled role in the intergenerational transmission of vital survival skills, complex cultural practices, and accumulated wisdom. From teaching children which plants to eat and how to prepare them, to demonstrating the intricate process of making tools, tanning hides, or navigating the sprawling landscape, to imparting the complex social norms, ethical codes, and ancestral stories that defined their group's identity, women were the living libraries of their societies. Their consistent presence in the encampment and their continuous, hands-on interaction with the young made them ideal teachers, instilling the practical knowledge and cultural values necessary for both individual survival and the continuity of the entire community across countless generations. Furthermore, burgeoning archaeological interpretations and anthropological theories increasingly suggest that many prehistoric societies might have been far more egalitarian than previously imagined, or even matricentric in some instances, where women held significant influence, power, and even explicit leadership positions within the community. Their roles in organizing communal activities, managing shared resources, making critical decisions concerning migration routes, resource allocation, or intergroup relations were likely profound and formally recognized. This challenges the long-held assumption that leadership was solely a male domain driven by physical strength or hunting success. The enduring strength and resilience of these early communities stemmed not from a single, dominant force, but from the balanced contributions, shared responsibilities, and interwoven leadership of all its members, with women standing firmly at the very heart of their social, intellectual, and cultural fabric, orchestrating the harmony necessary for long-term survival and prosperity. The sheer tenacity and adaptability required for survival in the Stone Age extended deeply into the realms of health, healing, and community well-being, areas where women likely held unparalleled expertise and played utterly indispensable roles. In a world devoid of modern medicine, where every cut, broken bone, or fever could mean the difference between life and death, the knowledge of healing was paramount for the collective survival of the group. It is highly probable based on anthropological parallels and logical deduction, that women were the primary healers and medical practitioners within their communities, possessing an intricate and orally transmitted understanding of medicinal plants, their properties, and how to prepare and apply them. Their deep, practical familiarity with the plant kingdom, cultivated through centuries of meticulous gathering for food, would have naturally extended to discerning which roots, leaves, barks, or berries could alleviate pain, reduce inflammation, stop bleeding, or effectively treat various infections and ailments. They would have also been masters of practical first aid, knowing how to meticulously clean wounds, set simple fractures using splints, or soothe burns, all knowledge critically important for reducing mortality rates and ensuring the community's resilience against the constant threats of injury, disease, and environmental hazards. Beyond treating ailments, women were central to the profound and often perilous event of childbirth. While typically a female experience, it was undoubtedly a communal one in prehistoric societies, with women supporting each other through labor and the subsequent care of newborns. This shared responsibility for bringing new life into the world fostered immense bonds and relied on a wealth of accumulated knowledge passed down from generation to generation regarding techniques to assist in difficult births, manage pain, and ensure the survival of both mother and child. Their collective wisdom surrounding birth, infant care, and early childhood development was crucial for reducing the high mortality rates common in such challenging environments, thereby directly influencing the population growth and long-term viability of the group. This communal effort in nurturing the young not only solidified social ties but also guaranteed a continuous supply of future hunters, gatherers, and innovators. Moreover, women's holistic understanding of the environment and their incredibly flexible skill sets contributed significantly to the overall adaptability and long-term survival strategies of their groups. Their ability to seamlessly transition between various essential tasks, be it intensive gathering, assisting in hunting, meticulously crafting tools and clothing, or providing crucial care and healing, often simultaneously or in rapid response to environmental changes, provided a crucial layer of resilience for the entire community. This multifaceted contribution ensured that communities could pivot and thrive even when faced with resource scarcity, sudden climatic shifts, or unexpected dangers. Their practical wisdom, nurturing capabilities, and profound knowledge of natural remedies were not merely supportive functions, they were foundational pillars upon which the health, continuity, and continued existence of early human populations rested, making them indispensable guardians of life itself and essential architects of humanity's enduring journey. The pervasive and often misleading narrative of the caveman largely stems from deeply embedded historical and academic biases that have, for far too long, overshadowed the true complexity and egalitarian nature of prehistoric gender roles. For much of the 19th and early 20th centuries, the nascent fields of anthropology and archaeology were almost exclusively male-dominated, particularly in Western societies where these disciplines largely originated. Researchers approaching their studies, often with limited direct evidence, invariably did so through a male-centric lens, unconsciously or consciously projecting the societal norms and gender divisions of their own Victorian and early 20th century eras onto the distant past. This led to a disproportionate emphasis on activities traditionally associated with men in contemporary societies, such as hunting large game, warfare, and the creation of prominent stone tools, which were deemed more heroic, active, or scientifically significant. Evidence of these activities, like large projectile points, impressive skeletal remains of megafauna, or the fossilized bones of human males, was often more readily preserved in the archaeological record and thus more visible, further reinforcing the powerful image of the male hunter as the primary actor and driver of human evolution. Conversely, activities typically associated with women, such as the meticulous work of gathering plants, the intricate processes of food preparation and preservation, childcare, textile production, like tanning hides or weaving baskets, and the cultivation of social bonds, often left far less durable or immediately recognizable archaeological traces. Plant remains decay, perishable materials like basketry and textiles disintegrate rapidly, and direct evidence of complex social interaction or nurturing roles is notoriously difficult to discern from mere physical remains. This scarcity of hard material evidence for women's activities, coupled with prevailing societal norms that often devalued women's work as domestic or less intellectually demanding, led to a default assumption that their roles were indeed secondary, passive, or less impactful on the grand scale of human development. Furthermore, influential evolutionary theories of the time, such as those popular in the early 20th century, often posited a clear, biologically determined division of labor as a primary driving force in human evolution. These theories suggested that males evolved superior intelligence and cunning through the complexities of the hunt, while females adapted primarily to nurturing roles, thereby creating a convenient and seemingly scientific justification for contemporary gender hierarchies. This intellectual climate created a kind of self-fulfilling prophecy, where initial biases shaped the interpretation of limited data, which then, in turn, reinforced the very biases themselves. It was only with the advent of feminist archaeology in the latter half of the 20th century that these ingrained assumptions began to be rigorously challenged and systematically dismantled. Scholars, often women themselves, started asking entirely new questions, re-examining old archaeological evidence with fresh, critical perspectives, and actively seeking out the often overlooked contributions of women in the archaeological record. They looked for indirect evidence, reinterpreted existing data, and applied new scientific methods to reveal a more balanced picture. This critical re-evaluation of our past is not merely an academic exercise, it is profoundly crucial for constructing a more honest, comprehensive, and accurate understanding of human origins. It allows us to move beyond simplistic narratives and reconstruct a history that truly reflects the full spectrum of human ingenuity, collaboration, and the indispensable efforts of both men and women across the vast expanse of the Stone Age. The traditional, caveman narrative, while deeply ingrained in popular culture, has been systematically dismantled by an overwhelming body of modern research. We have journeyed through compelling archaeological evidence that definitively challenges the simplistic hunter-gatherer stereotype, revealing women as active and skilled participants in big-game hunting, a role previously almost exclusively attributed to men. Beyond the thrill of the hunt, we've explored how women were likely the unsung innovators of the Stone Age, spearheading advancements in food processing, textile production, and even laying the groundwork for agriculture through their profound botanical knowledge. Their contributions extended into the very fabric of social cohesion, acting as the primary architects of community structures and the indispensable conduits of knowledge transferred across generations. Furthermore, we've seen how women likely served as the vital healers and medical practitioners of their time, possessing an invaluable understanding of natural remedies and ensuring the health and survival of their groups. The persistent dominance of the man the hunter paradigm is now understood to be less about empirical evidence from the Stone Age and more about the historical biases inherent in early anthropological and archaeological studies. These fields, largely shaped by patriarchal perspectives, inadvertently projected contemporary gender roles onto our distant past, overlooking or misinterpreting the nuanced and often egalitarian contributions of women. As new methodologies emerge and established findings are re-examined through a more inclusive lens, the true picture of the Stone Age is finally coming into focus. It is a far richer, more dynamic, and ultimately more accurate narrative, one that champions collaboration, shared responsibility, and mutual respect between all members of early human societies. This revised understanding of prehistory is not merely an academic exercise, it carries profound implications for how we perceive gender roles and capabilities in our own time. By recognizing the ingenuity, resilience, and indispensable roles of women throughout our evolutionary journey, we gain a more complete and empowering vision of humanity itself. The story of our origins is not a tale of male dominance, but a powerful testament to the collective strength and diverse contributions of both men and women, working in concert to navigate challenges, innovate, and build the foundations of human civilization. It is a reminder that the full potential of humanity is realized when the vital contributions of all individuals are recognized and valued, prompting us to rethink contemporary conversations surrounding gendered labor practices and inequality with newfound perspective and historical depth.